Hello and welcome. You are watching and listening episode 86 of the Nearly Men video games program, coming to you live on Twitch from Scotland on Thursday the 29th of April 2021. I am Paul Kaczynski, and joining me today is the very cheeky Blunderboy87 and of course Mr. Colin Little.
Ahoy hoy.
We have nothing to do with the video games industry. We don't make them, we don't sell them, we're not even particularly good at them. We are the Nearly Men, and at some point you probably kicked our ass online. Right, hold the bus.
That's payback for weeks of you slagging Colin.
Didn't even introduce us. He missed the bit when he said together with the Nearly Men.
If I may,
and listening.
if I may, so every week there's some sort of mad sweaty bit that happens during that introduction where someone either trips up or says something wrong or panics or whatever, right? But the difference is when I do it, I can see you two. I can see you two sniggering away. They can't see me.
I was not sniggering.
Very cheeky, very cheeky. How are you guys? How nice to see you.
Not bad.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
all good. All good.
How are
You
you,
were-
Paul Kaczynski?
Oh, I'm very good. Thank you for asking, Blunderboy.
Got your tongue
Episode.
back?
Get my what back?
Your tongue?
What's out? No, it's gone. It's gone. Everyone knows I can't speak anyway. I'm just leaning into it now.
Can't speak. Can't type. I mean, it's a miracle he's even alive, to be honest.
Really, I can't. I'm a very low functioning human being. Episode 86, gentlemen. This is kind of flying by. I mean, I would say maybe pretty much about a year we've been clockwork with this episode now.
Yeah.
Regulars clockwork. We had our little tiny break after save point and a tiny Christmas break. But apart from that, we have been every 2 weeks.
Every
doing
fortnight.
regulars clockwork. Yeah.
Brilliant.
It's all going to go Pete Tong from here, isn't it?
That's it. Aye, people have been cancelling left, right, and centre. The world is opening up, of course. Here in Scotland, we're now what we're calling level 3, which means we can travel about the country. I think groups of 6 families can meet up in public places outdoors.
Groups of 6 people, not groups of 6 families.
I thought it was like 6 households. Is that me? Is that
No,
the next
it's
one?
like 6 people from 6 different households, but you
Yeah.
can't. It's weird.
Oh, I see what you're
It
saying.
was just as you said, there could be 6 full families.
I know. I was already thinking of my next point.
The Brady Bunch all shooting down, but we're one family.
Isn't that how it works?
But that man from the Nearly Men said.
Welcome everyone. This is episode 86, as I say, of the Nearly Men Video Games Podcast. We love you getting in touch to tell us anything and everything about the video games industry, whether it's what you're playing or any news that you see, or even just what you're excited about what's coming out. Because nothing's coming out, Blunderboy?
Nothing at all. Absolutely nothing.
If you want to get in touch, here's how you can do it.
Reaching the Nearly Men is easier than ever. Search for the Nearly Men Video Games Podcast on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or your preferred podcast player. We stream on Twitch. Follow Colin at Colin_NM. Follow Paul at Paul Kaczynski, all one word. Follow Gary at Blunderboy87. And let's get social on Facebook as The Nearly Men, Twitter and Instagram where we are at Nearly Men, or go old school and email us on info@thenearlymen.com. Need all that again? Links are on our website, thenearlymen.com. So what are you waiting for?
Yes, indeed. Please drop us a line. Let us know. We love hearing from you. It's a two-way thing. We always love hearing from you, beautiful listeners and elegant watchers on Twitch, of course. Twitch.tv/thenearlymen. Gentlemen, it's been a slow week in the gaming world. I suppose depending on what point of view you have, but in the general sense, we're a very general podcast. We don't really focus in on a particular genre or platform or anything like that. So generally, it's been quite bland, hasn't it?
Yeah, I'm just having a quick scroll through the script to see because I've just remembered one thing. Sony released some figures.
Okay, that was kind of boring.
Money. It was boring, so we'll not really.
You want to bring maths into it?
But It does look like 2020, although it's been an interesting year. It's been quite a good year for the video games industry. Obviously, Game Pass is up at 23 million subscribers now, I believe.
Whoa.
Sony, and it's jumped up about 10 million in the last couple of months. And Sony's PlayStation Plus subscribers, they've got 45.3 million subscribers to PlayStation Plus as well, which is an astonishing amount of. It probably does go to show you why Fall Guys and all that struggled when they first opened, because the amount of people. But these things can't be completely compared, because Game Pass is not a direct competitor to PlayStation Plus. They are slightly separate things, but it does go to show you that Sony's still doing very well, and I believe they sold something like 7.5 million PS5s. Is that right? Something like that in the year as well. Which, given the semiconductor shortage and given all the various issues with COVID, it's pretty strong, all things considered.
Agreed.
So yeah, it seems to be doing quite well, and obviously Game Pass is looking good. And there's every possibility by the end of the summer, Game Pass could be potentially close to 40 million subscribers as well.
Microsoft's gaming revenue is shot up by 50%, apparently.
Wow.
Apparently, so they say. It's a revenue of $3.5 billion for the quarter.
I guess that's probably pretty good. Those scenes they just acquired Bethesda, which probably cost them something.
You need it.
It did cost them like $3.5 billion.
Yeah, so they're probably like, thank God that paid off. Can you imagine it never? They'd have been like, anybody want to buy Bethesda?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think both of both the companies seem to be doing pretty well. It's interesting to see where they go, and of course, excuse me, it has been a quiet couple of months, but things do seem to start cranking up. I know Deathloop's been delayed, but we do have two pretty big releases in the space of a week, which we'll be talking about later on. So it's sort of things are picking up after a slow couple of months, I would say.
Yeah. Speaking of which, a big game that's out this week is Returnal, coming from Housemarque on PlayStation. It's a PlayStation exclusive, isn't it?
It is.
And it's a kind of, dare we say it's roguelike? Are we allowed to say that?
It definitely is roguelike. Yeah,
where you play certain parts of the game again and again and again to rank up yourself. And it's getting very positive reviews. I think I saw it was, at the moment, it's 87 on Metacritic, which is quite good going. That's like with the critics' reviews. And I wasn't desperately intrigued at this, but in the past couple of weeks, I'd say I'm maybe a bit keener to play it now. But Colin, you've had your eye on it for some time, haven't you?
Well, mainly because of the studio behind it. Housemarque have a history of making great games with really great gameplay. The one that really put them on the map for me was Resogun, which I knew nothing about. There was a few problems with the PlayStation 4 when it came. There wasn't a lot of games, and the first PS4 PS Plus game, as far as I'm aware, was Resogun, and it really tidied us over.
It did, didn't it?
It really tidied us over. I remember Paolo and I working in a theatre, and we were both playing Resogun on our Vitas as well.
We were. We were, that's right.
Co-oping on Vitas, playing it. It's such a fun game. It's got that really sort of high score chasing sort of retro feel to it, Resogun, but it's just got this really enjoyable core gameplay loop. They also made Alien Nation, which didn't quite land quite the same for myself, but it still had that. And yeah, they just make great games. So I was always quite interested in it, but this was going to be a PlayStation 5. You can only play this on PlayStation 5. This is not PS5 and PS4 or anything like that. This is a solid next gen or new gen game. And basically what happens is, as Paolo says, you actually think of something like Edge of Tomorrow, the Tom Cruise film where he keeps dying and he gets this loop, he dies, or even Groundhog Day, you die and then you're resurrected and you live the same life again, but you've kind of got the knowledge that you had before. So every time you die, you go back to the very start of the game and you have to run through the whole thing again.
Was that right?
There's various different biomes, but you start to learn the routes. Things aren't exactly the same, but you sort of learn from experience. You kind of know certain weapons to take, certain loadouts to take. There's these sort of like creature things they sort of, they're parasites, I think they're called, and they can dig at you. You can kind of infect yourself with these parasites, and they've got boosts, and kind of like they'll give you a certain buff, but they'll also give you there's pros and cons, and you sort of, the more you explore, the more parasites you learn, the more weapons you learn, the more things you want to build as you play through the game, and multiple playthroughs are going to give you the story. But the thing that people keep coming back at it is it's hella hard. Hella hard. It's a proper challenge, and I'm super excited about it.
Bonus points for mentioning Edge of Tomorrow, which is a brilliant film.
It's very good.
It's a great film. Gary, do you know about it at all?
So when the Returnal trailer launched, I thought the premise looked really cool, and I was like, ooh. And then when I found out it was going to be a roguelike, I went, I'm not the best at roguelikes, as we know. I don't cope well with dying and doing things over and over again. If it is going to be like that, it needs to be really good, like story and characters. So like Hades is the first roguelike, or roguelite, whatever it's called, that I really enjoyed. But again, that was like the design, the art, the storyline. I love Greek gods, so that had my whole thing, and it's a pure like LGBTQ+ dream. Like it's the way the script's written and the characters. It's such a diverse cast and characters of all different races and stuff. It's amazing. So that's when I found out Returnal was going to be that. I was kind of like, could I like it? And then calling you messages, they saying, "Oh, it's meant to be pure solid." I was like, no. So I'm kind of still in the fence of going, will I get it or not? Like I'm like, well, I'll just wait till Colin plays it, because Colin, you're really honest in how hard games are. So I was like, maybe I'll wait till Colin says what it's like. And then also, it's so dear. I forgot the price jump for this generation. So I went on the store and I was like, £70.
Well,
man.
I've got
for a game I might not play.
I've got a wee life hack for that.
Here he comes.
On
An
the
exclusive
US store, it will be $69.99. So get yourself to CD Keys, set yourself up a US account, get yourself to CD Keys, buy yourself some US PSN credit, load that into your account, whack there, and you'll probably get the game for about £50.
I should say that other shifty websites that do these kind of things are available.
Although,
we are not sponsored by CD Keys.
You'll have to do that again. That's why I never really do that. But that's definitely a life hack.
Colin and Gary there touched on how difficult it's going to be, which kind of sparked a wee conversation with us about difficult games. And do you know, Blunderboy, I was very surprised when I sent a message saying, have a wee think of your kind of a few difficult games, and you replied all of them. See, I rate you as quite a very good gamer.
I'm tired. I'm tired and grumpy. I was just like,
that was a lazy answer, I see.
I was like, today even Stardew Valley was hard. I was like, I've got to milk my cows. Oh, I can't do that. I'm just tired. I'm sore from working out all day. I'm just like,
oh no.
But no, I like a challenging game. I just don't like when it's like stupidly difficult and I'm like frustrated, because that's when I usually break a joypad. It's
a really fine line, isn't it, to make it really difficult, but still be enjoyable, isn't it? But chucking it, rage quitting it. It's a really fine line. Who wants to go first? And with a wee discussion about different hard games, who wants to go first? Colin, I'm going to throw it to you actually, because you're the king of tough games.
Well, I don't.
Colin's a masochist.
Yes, he likes to put it on a hard level and all that. It's not just that he doesn't pick it up and put it on normal. He picks it up and puts it on hard or beyond kind of thing to begin with. So
I do often do that. I've not been doing that as much recently since I've started streaming games, because
you're Captain Shambles now.
Well, but also unless the the difficulty is the point of the game, then I'm not that bothered. My issue with hard games is they need to be designed that way. They need to be hard and be part of the actual fiber of the game. So if Returnal is supposed to be a challenge, then that's wonderful, and I kind of want them to batter me as hard as they can. My issue is when a game is hard by poor design, or the difficulty scaling's off. I played Rise Son of Rome, really enjoyed it, got to the end, and the final battle was horrific because the final battle required you to parry. They had a really rubbish parry system that I hated, and I hadn't used the whole way through the game, but I hadn't needed to use it the whole way through the game, and then the entire fight demanded me to use that parry thing. And I'm like, well, if you're going to make that such an important thing, you have to teach the player to use that throughout the game. The player has to get used to using that system, because I made it through the entire game never parrying once, and then it was basically I had to cheese that fight in the end because it didn't work. That's bad game design for my money. That's not great. I remember being stuck at a game one time. A game that was very good, but remember, me and Paolo were also very, very tired. And we were stuck at a game for like 20 minutes. All we had to do was look up, but we had no way of knowing that's what it wanted us to do.
Aye.
What game was that?
That was Layers of Fear, which is a brilliant game. But
Ah.
that one particular moment was infuriating because we could not tell what the hell it wanted us to do, and we felt like we tried everything, and literally all we had to do was look up. But game design is they make things, and I know there's a sort of fine line because how often do we need to see the yellow bars or the scratched white surfaces in an Uncharted game, or the yellow bars in the Last of Us, and you're like, oh. But then there's moments like and games are designed to point people in a certain direction, and that's the beauty of game design. But I've been playing Demon's Souls recently on PS5, and it's super tough. It's not as refined as Dark Souls. See, particularly Dark Souls 3. Dark Souls 3 is absolutely magnificent, right? Because From Software spent so long honing these ultra hard games and improving them, and there's Estus Flasks and all that, Estus Flasks and stuff like that. Demon's Souls is a remake, but they haven't like refined any of the systems, so it's still very much the nuts and bolts of the original game, and the original game does have a few flaws. But that's the appeal of those games, for them to be hard, and I think that Returnal are aiming for that sort of thing as well. They're wanting it to be difficult, and that appeals to me. It really does appeal to me. But what I don't like is if it's just like, oh well, we'll just crank everything up to 11 to stupid, and then you're stuck. A perfect example is hard mode on Batman Arkham City. It's
Oh, he wasn't happy.
impossible.
He wasn't happy.
Infuriatingly so, because it affects the heart and soul of the game, I feel, because just the basic grunts were like one shot punching me to death, and it's like, I'm bloody Batman. It shouldn't be easy, but I shouldn't be able to be killed by just one grunt punching me in the face.
Yeah.
And I was like, I remember getting really annoyed at it, and I went on to Google. I was like, it can't just be me that's annoying. It turns out it is a big thing that particular game's hard mode is insanely hard, and not to the enjoyable level of things. But I did see. Sorry, I've been going on and on here, but I did see
You never.
I know.
No, I don't.
For the gamer,
What?
talking about this when the embargo of Returnal came out, and he couldn't release his review yet. I think they've given it 7 out of 10. But he said one of the things that he'd be interested to see is the discourse about it is just how hard this game is, because he said he was having trouble getting past the second biome of the game. It's super hard.
Do we know if there's a scale of difficulty, or is it just you play the game? Do you know what I mean?
I don't think it's got difficulty levels. I think it literally is
That's
tough.
good. I quite like that. I quite like when you don't get a choice.
Yeah, as long as it teaches you how to get good, because you just end up with loads of folk in chat going, get good, get good, get good.
It's very expensive. Get good.
Well, that's why I think a lot of the reviews are mentioning how tough this game is, but they're all basically saying it's the PS5's best exclusive. I know that's a short list at the moment,
Very short.
but
It's the PS5 exclusive.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I think it's going to be quite interesting. I'm really tempted. We're sort of waiting to see what's happening, whether we're going to get codes for it or whether I am already thinking about taking the plunge and buying it.
Hold off.
I know. I want to play it.
Can't be dealing with raging caller messages tomorrow or whenever.
Well, it's happened a few times. It happened with Ghost of Tsushima and something else that I bought, and then we got codes like the day after. I was like,
brutal. Gary, what some of your hardest games? What jumps to the top of your list?
Oddly enough, what jumps to my head is way back in the Sega Mega Drive, the first game which I found extremely difficult, but I loved it and I was determined to finish it, was the game Comics Zone. And you play this comic book artist, and he's doing his comic book, and then the bad guy in the comic book like sucks him in and swaps places, and you've got to make your way through the comic book to get yourself released. And it's so cool, but it's so difficult when you're 8 years old and don't have like any good reflexes. But even so, every time Sega have done their Mega Drive collection, like PSD and stuff, it's always been part of it, and I've gone back to it, and it's still really difficult as a grown up. And the only way I finished it is because you can save the game now in the PlayStation version. So like pause, save. So I finally finished it, and it's really cool. Like as you go through the level, you can hold 3 items, so you can like get a knife that you can throw. You can find your pet rat, which you put down and it rolls into the bad guys. You can find a grenade you can throw. There's health pickups, and then there's a fist. And when you take the fist and you activate it, it goes, oh yeah, and turns like a superhero form himself and like releases his powers because he's in a comic book. So I mean, it's a great game, but it was so difficult. But it was that kind of I wanted to finish it, and I just never could. Other really difficult games to me, I find the Souls games really difficult and frustratingly difficult.
I'm the same.
And I've been making my way through Bloodborne. I took a slight break, and I'm weary about going back just because I'm like, oh, am I ready for this yet? I don't know if I'm ready for this yet. But I don't think there's anything.
It's like when you go to the gym for like 2 weeks and then you take a week off. You have to go back to the gym. You're like, oh no,
I won't do it to myself. I don't think. I'm trying to think if there's anything that jumps out as being like.
Games used to be super
hard.
Like
Doom. The new Doom was kind of hard at times.
Doom Returnal is hard, yeah. Returnal is hard.
But I rarely play a game in hard unless I finished it in normal first, because I play games for story. Like that tends to. So I'll go through normal, and then if I feel like it, I'll play it in hard. Or if there's a trophy, because I'm a bit a trophy collector, I'll do the hard mode if I like the game enough. But I always think I think people who go to hard straight away, I'm like, oh my gosh, they are nuts.
You hear that, Colin?
To me, that would destroy my enjoyment of the game. But I get for people that's part of their enjoyment.
It depends on the game. It depends. The issue with me is I've hardly ever. There's only a handful of games that I've played through more than once because I don't really ever want to. I usually spend a lot of time playing through the game, and part of the reason is because I do play them on harder difficulty, so it does take me a bit longer to get through the game. And generally, once I'm done, unless I'm wanting to platinum or whatever, I'm kind of done. But there's hardly any games that I play through multiple times because I just don't. I don't really want to. I want to move on to something else, So I quite like to. I certainly felt like it would get more value for money out of it, especially when I was paying for games. Like, if it took me a bit longer to get through it,
I've got a wee list here. Just Super Meat Boy was one that I'd mentioned. I thought it was a bit brutal in places. All those kind of games. Cuphead, which I've not played, is meant to be very brutal. But before we move on, guys, I want to bring up Hook, Colin. I think you'll agree that's a hard game. Hook.
Yeah. Bloody hell. Bloody hell. Did you ever play this, or are you just referencing my eternal pain at this game.
I will never forget it.
So
Hook,
okay,
as
well,
in
let me
Hook,
tell you.
as in the Steven Spielberg film movie tie-in.
I was going to
1993,
guess, is that what it
94?
was? I
So-
never knew there was a Hook game.
I had this on the Commodore 64. Remember when you used to get these massive boxes? It was made by Ocean.
Oh,
made
yeah.
they did all the movie tie-ins. Then they did the Batman game, they did the RoboCop game, all that sort of stuff. This big, massive box about the size of the Little Woods catalog, right? And then you got a cassette inside that box, just rattling around inside that massive box. A tape cassette, and you'd put it in your cassette thing for your Commodore 64, which was an external tape player thing. You put that in, and then you would start the game, and it would load, and it would take, I kid you not, an hour to load, right? So what would happen is you would put it on. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. It took an hour to load. You put it on, and I'd go and have my bath or whatever, right? I'd go and have my dinner or my bath. My dad would set the game up on for my load. I'd come back after my bath, after my dinner, after 3 episodes of Heartbeat, whatever it took, right? I'd come back, and the game was loaded, right? You would get your joystick, and you would go along, and it's a side scroller kind of platform. It's sort of like 8-bit graphics or whatever, and you're running along. You would jump, miss the jump, fall and die. I don't know if you would start again, start the level, run along. You get that jump, you miss the next one, you fall and die. Back to the start. You'd run along, miss that jump, fall, die. Game over. Another hour to load.
We have got to find that game on a wee emulator, and you've got to stream that. I want to see you overcome.
Oh, overcome your past, Colin.
Let's do it.
Your fears.
So, but the thing is, right? So we know I've got a history of I had a history of going to shops and looking at the back of games. You know, looking at the screen grabs in the back of the game.
Loved it.
Oh, this game looks amazing. So there was various levels. There was a level you could see a little screenshot of the Captain Hook's pirate ship, and it was like a sword fight between Peter Pan and Captain Hook. There was Rufio's treehouse, and then there was like a kind of jungle level or something like that. I never saw any of those levels. And as far as I'm concerned, they never fucking made them. They never made them. They made 3 screens because they knew fine well you were never going to get past those first 3 screens, and that was it. And then they went, "Oh, we'll just call it a day there, lads. Right? How long should we make it to load? An hour. Just make sure they never play this more than twice." Done. Job's a good one.
Let's get it. Let's get it emulated.
Absolutely.
And
Furious.
we'll overcome your past. As
But
Gary
we need to pause it for an hour in between the 2 lives to really make it feel
that's 1990s permadeath.
I know that these paddle and pull streams are all the rage, but I'm not having my bath on camera.
Very good. Very good.
This is awkward for everybody.
Well, listen, I think one way or another, on the next episode, we'll be hearing about Returnal from Mr. Little, so we'll find out if it really is as hard as nails as everyone's saying. But in the meantime, here's some Cozy's Crumbs for you.
Cozy's Crumbs.
Resident Evil Reverse. Are you aware of a franchise, Blunderboy, called Resident Evil?
I might have heard of it.
I think you might have. You'll know it when you see it. Resident Evil Reverse is delayed until summer 2021. A lot of people are guessing that they've panicked due to a very shaky first beta of it. Apparently, it lasted for 7 hours before being ripped from people's hands. The servers went offline, but I think they've had numerous betas since. Yeah.
So it went up, and then it was like, and then they took it down, and they fixed it, and it went back up. I mean that's. Ideally, that's what your beta to do, rather than launch. Imagine it was launching that. So it's doing its job. So I think they've decided to extend the beta just to maybe iron out kinks and get more feedback and stuff, which to me is a promising thing. Because unlike when we got Project Resistance, they did a beta, then fired it out, and then they had to keep making how do you call it, like lifelong,
adjustments,
adjustments to like longevity and make it quality
Balances,
of life adjustments,
balances.
yeah,
Aye.
as it went on, and then people were kind of, by the time they were doing it, people were kind of like, I'm kind of bored, but I'm kind of over the fact it was so squidgy last time. So this is kind of a bit more hopeful that this little add-on game, which has no impact on any Resident Evil verse stuff, but should be fun, will actually be fun and people will actually play it.
What's the? I mean, so Resident Evil 8 is getting. You know that it's getting mercenaries.
Yes,
yeah?
I know it's getting mercenaries. I've seen the screenshot,
So
and I went, to which I went,
I can't. I don't know what Blunderboy wants to know and what he doesn't want to know about Resident Evil 8.
Aye.
While we're talking about this, yeah. So it is getting mercenary mode.
yeah.
So does it really need reverse as well?
Well, mercenaries mode is historically a single player event. Mercenaries was originally single player, and it works best single player. And then Resident Evil 5 introduced Mercenaries Versus, which was amazing. So that's how I met Baker Boy, who played Resident Evil 6 with me. We met in a forum and then started playing that online. And me, Baker Boy, and NJ Play Games would put hours into Resident Evil Versus, because what you would do is you could be in teams fighting each other. You could be 4 and you're all versed each other. It could be kill enough monsters, but when you kill another player, you get extra points. And to me, that's what Reverse is. It's the Resident Evil 5 Mercs mode on acid, because now you can turn it into bioweapons in between being the human characters.
Right.
And I think, it looks like daft fun. And it seems that Resident Evil fans are very serious gamers these days. And I'm like, have you seen the first game? Do you remember the B-movie campness? It's very much like that. So to me, it just looks, I think it looks hilarious. Like, it looks like you and a bunch of pals playing it on an evening would just be in stitches playing it. It just looks bizarre. You get to be Jack Baker with his big clamp thing, like chopping people in two. It's mental.
Well, very excitingly, on the next episode 87, Blunderboy will have played Resident Evil 8.
Oh,
And
And
we'll
now,
get your thoughts on
What's he
that.
done?
Maybe we
Oh.
can finally talk to
3
him
times.
about the big woman that he doesn't want to talk about.
I know. Lady
Let's
D,
keep it fresh for him.
Yeah.
Let's keep it fresh
just
for him.
get to wait and see what she does.
Mortal Kombat has a movie, if everyone knows. The trailer actually made it look quite good for
It looks
once.
excellent.
The
It looks
reviews
really
are good.
Indeed. It's been out in America for a while, or at least America, possibly other regions as well, but it now has a
Australia.
UK and Australia. There you go. New UK date is now the 6th of May. The 6th of May, you can get Mortal Kombat from your usual places, and I think it's going to be similar to like a King Kong versus Godzilla, where it's £16 if you want to watch it. Brutal.
Okay.
A lot of people are confused. They're wondering why they've not waited and just released it
In
when the cinemas open on the 17th. But some people are saying maybe they know something that we don't. But I think they just want to get it out. I think it's out there. They want to get it out so people don't pirate it, I think.
I think that's more likely. They can't really hold off much longer,
Yeah.
because it will be,
Yeah.
if it's out in America, there will be pirate versions of it about already. So yeah, they
Yeah.
need to get it out. And to be honest, I it's great. The cinema's great, and I do like the cinema. But I've been going to cinema less and less, obviously, even before this, just because of people's behaviour. So actually, there are certain event movies I maybe would go to see in the cinema, but something like Mortal Kombat, I might just watch. I've got a big enough telly. I would probably quite like to just sit and watch it in the house and have a bottle of beer and talk nonsense over it or something.
I can only go to the cinema at 10 o'clock in the morning. That's the only time I can go and I'm happy. Any other time I'm raging, I'm moaning about something.
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto 5 is still going, people, would you believe? It's back on Game Pass. There's a next or current gen version coming in the summer, I believe, for PS5. Free on PS5, incidentally. But there was an article came out recently that says even if you try not to kill anyone, if you choose the stealth option and run away whenever you can, you'll still kill 726 people. Franklin gets the highest count with 295. Trevor will kill 258, and Michael will only kill 172. So there you go. So the stealth version of Grand Theft Auto 5 is 726 kills. And that sounds a wee bit like my Dishonored run as well. My non-lethal Dishonored run.
It's non-lethal Dishonored run.
You're the shadow. You leave no trace apart from all those baddies.
It was non-lethal Dishonored run, also known as the genocide run.
That was brutal, absolutely brutal. Speaking of Game Pass, there's a few wee additions. They're not great at announcing their additions anymore. It seems to be a kind of hindsight thing they're doing it. So on the 22nd, Fogs came on PC. On the 28th, you got Second Extinction, console, PC, and cloud, which seems like an Ark survival type thing. It's a game preview, a bit like Grounded, so it'll be getting adapted as it goes. Today, the 29th, you get Destroy All Humans on console and PC, and then tomorrow, the 30th, is Fable Day on Game Pass, where you're getting Fable 3 and Fable Anniversary on cloud. Incidentally, iOS and PC went into beta for cloud gaming. Finally for Game Pass. There was a big brouhaha about how Apple didn't have Game Pass on their devices.
You had to do it through the browser. I think you maybe still have to do it through the browser.
Well, it's in beta now and it's coming. They've advertised it as summer, I believe. Okay. So, how about some subbies?
Yay!
Games with Gold! Right, it's a brand new month, so it's dates all over the place central. So from the 1st to the 31st of May, you're getting Armello, which is a digital board game. From the 16th to the 31st of May, you're getting Dungeons 3. RTS there. And with backwards compatibility, from the 1st of May to the 15th of May, you'll have Lego Batman. And the 16th of May to the 31st of May, you're getting Tropical 4. The management sim that I think was a PS Plus game, if I remember rightly, not that long ago.
Years ago.
Was it years ago? Was it?
I mean, I still stayed in Park.
Games. See, right. Here's the thing, right? Game Pass is great. Games with Gold's pretty duff, right? I mean, the games that they actually give you are honking. Really,
it is,
I mean, those are quite good games, but they're hella old. And a digital board game and an RTS and a management sim. I mean, this is that same time that PlayStation gave us Battlefield and Battlefront the same day or whatever it was.
That's
you're like,
right,
mix it up a bit. That's, you know, if you're not into, if you're a shooter fan on Xbox, then I mean, that stinks to high heaven of Microsoft literally just trying to get everybody to get on a Game Pass.
Well, I mean, I'm wondering how many people just get Gold now. I think anybody that's getting Gold is going to get Game Pass. I can't see anybody doing it.
Upgrade or whatever, yeah.
PlayStation Plus, you're getting Wreckfest. Yes!
What
game of the week. It was great fun. Great fun. So fun. I played it twice. Car Mayhem for PS5. PS5 only. I should add, Wreckfest is on PS5 only. For PS4, you're getting Battlefield 5, which is a great game, great first-person shooter, and Stranded Deep, which is a wee survival game. I'm not sure you've heard of that, Colin Little. It's a survival when you're on a desert island. You wouldn't like it, don't worry.
Can I just say, everybody out there, if you haven't got Stranded Deep, get it. It's a great game. It's maybe not for everyone, but I promise you, it's definitely worth checking out. I'm delighted for Beam Team that it's going on to PlayStation Plus.
Colin, everybody's got Stranded Deep, mate, because everybody bought it from you. If only you had that, like a Games with Gold referrer link, you'd be swimming in it.
I had commission for that, I'd have been loaded. I mean, if I had £1 for every person that on my recommendation bought Stranded Deep, I would have about £15.
Speaking of Wreckfest on PS Plus, we played it as a multiplayer game last week, and it was a hooray amount of fun, as we say in Scotland. Honestly, I kind of had an inkling of playing this anyway, and I thought it'd be a good wee filler almost. I did not anticipate having as much fun as I did with it. Did you enjoy it, guys?
Bonkers.
I'm historically known for not enjoying car games or sports games, but when we were like, I wanted to play, and you were like Wreckfest, I was like, nah, cool, because I don't need to think. Because that my suggestion was anything I don't need to engage my brain. And then I pure loved it, and then I was getting dead competitive. Like, it was a surprising hit for me. Like, I was getting right in it. I was like getting raging at teammates and stuff for not doing their job properly. I was like, this is danger territory for me. But it was so much fun. So much fun.
It's so silly. you know, you play, you can race, you can have basic races, you can have elimination races, you can have kind of destruction derby type things. But even the races have got a destruction element to it. You're encouraged to destroy. And it was just so much fun. It was so silly. So silly. The level that we're showing just now, was it called Deathloop? Or am I just...
I think it was called Deathloop.
Yeah.
Am I just wishful thinking? So as you can see, it's got a big loop in it, loop the loop, and it was, I mean, just the silliness that evolved from it, which was great. We played with the community on this, and Hamster Boy chose the school bus for this,
so
and
funny.
essentially blocked that entrance for the race. It was just, do you know what I mean? It was just so fun, so fun.
It was brilliant, and you know, it was really nice. We played for 2.5 hours with the community members all playing along with us. We had a lot of fun, and then Blunder Boy had to go to his bed because he was up early for work the next day. And
Aw.
Paolo and I, we did finish the stream, but we just decanted into a sort of empty. Everyone back to mine. We went into the Nearly Men Discord. We got everybody in one of the community rooms. We had everybody on voice chat, and we played for another 40 odd minutes, and it was hilarious fun. And I think we'll definitely be doing more of that sort of stuff. So
Yeah.
all you folks out there, if you're not part of the Nearly Men Discord, you need to join. You need to join and have some fun.
Indeed.
Also, the moment when we all did the sofas and the it was such ridiculous times.
So
It was so
silly.
much fun.
Well, it was the moment where Paolo decided no revives. So he turned off the no revives, but we didn't realise that when you crashed your lawnmower or your sofa, you went face first into the dirt, and then you just lay there dead, like with some sort of that diving bell and the butterfly, that locked in syndrome. We weren't dead, but we were like completely paralysed. You're just lying there, unable to move, unable to get back on your vehicle, just getting run over by folk constantly.
Waiting for death to take you.
Horrific.
So funny.
I enjoyed this so much on was it Tuesday? I've lost all my days. The Tuesday, I was going to play Sea of Thieves with yourself, Colin, and I had 2 hours to start with, and I thought, what can I do for 2 hours? And as there was so much fun last Thursday, I thought I'll fire up.
You could have played Hook twice.
I could have played Hook twice. That's true. That's very true. I fired this up and just said, anybody that wants a game, come and have a game. And again, it was another great time with the community. But we played a map that was I can't believe we didn't do it on Thursday. It was glorious. But what it is, it's like a figure of 8, but it's got a kind of straight in the middle.
Absolutely.
So when you get to the middle, you've then got a choice whether to go left or right. But if you go the other way from everyone else, you're driving into traffic. And it's chaos, absolute chaos. So much fun, so much fun. Colin, what else have you been playing, my man?
Well, first of all, I completed Ghost of Tsushima.
Yay!
This is a game that I've had a bit of a complicated history with. I was really looking forward to the game, and then for the whole first 20 hours or so of the game, it just wasn't really clicking with me, and I couldn't work out why. It's like I should really be liking this, but it just wasn't really. And then we'd been talking about it one night on the podcast, and you guys you were talking so passionately about it, and I was like, I have to give it another go and see. And I was having real problems with the parrying system, and that's a direct point of reference to my previous point. To win a duel, you have to learn how to parry in this game. You do have to learn how to parry, and it does encourage you to use that system. Therefore, I eventually did get good at it. And that's proper game design. And you have these moments, but the other thing about it is the difficulty scaling in this game is really interesting, because you can have these moments where you're super samurai and you're literally slicing through everyone, but at the same time you can make a couple of mistakes in a battle and you can be killed really quickly as well, and it's got that real sort of visceral feel to the fights because of that. At no point, I remember playing The Witcher for like hundreds of hours, and then by the end of it, I was playing it on Death March difficulty, but by the end of it, I had that same RPG problem that you have with things like Skyrim. Eventually you become over leveled. That was never a problem in this. It kept its sort of difficulty the whole way through, and I thought it was really good.
As you say, a few mistakes and you're suddenly outnumbered, and
and in a bad
the moment you get outnumbered, that's you. You're possibly done unless you
Yeah.
can nick your way out of it.
But I have to say, I really liked. I loved the story. The performances are absolutely amazing, amazing. The cast of characters are great. There's a particular moment where there's a particular death, and it just it pulled the rug out from under me. And it wasn't that I didn't necessarily see it coming, but I was just so invested by that point. I was like, and you know that you have that sort of moment where you're like, oh, well, it's on now. It's definitely on now, you know.
Oh, that
and
game had me crying. I cried
Aye.
quite frequently at video games, but like I was blubbering. I was like,
I just
Aye.
loved it, and I really sort of ended up sort of properly role playing as well for the whole sort of chunk of the game, and it's very good because it's got this real morality at the very heart of it. This real sort of strong um, theme of honor and morality, and you know how far will you go to to uh, to get what you need to do or to do it. How much of the monster are you willing to become? And I started playing that game. I hardly did any of the stealth stuff. I hardly did any of the ghost stuff. I was doing everything like a samurai. I was calling everyone out for a standoff. I was fighting my way through. And then as the story moves on, it sort of naturally I became more of the ghost as it went on, and I was a bit like, well, if I'm going to abandon my honor or feel like I'm having to abandon my honor, then I'm just going to fully embrace the darkness. And it was really nice. And I sort of towards the end, I was like, I'm playing this game in a completely different way to the way I was playing it beforehand, but it feels natural. And it even came to that point when I was putting on costumes in particular types, particular ways. I was like, I'm going to be a samurai this time, so I'm putting on my armor. But I'm like, but you know, if I'm going to be the ghost, I'm going to terrify these guys. I'm going to do it that way. And I just think it's a really great game. Sucker Punch have done such a good job with it, and I've absolutely loved it. I've got 2 more trophies to get to the platinum. And no, it's really good. It's
Happy
really good.
days. What else you been playing, buddy?
Also, I played a little bit Dead by Daylight. I've been working slowly towards the Nearly Men tournament. We'll be discussing that later
The
on,
what?
I'm sure.
What is that? Sorry, what?
the
Of,
what?
of
What?
course, I've been playing some Sea of Thieves. I was playing
the
some
what
Sea
now?
of Thieves with Paolo. Paolo and Wardy live and Orlinus. We were a Celtic brotherhood.
Nice.
Two Scotsmen, an Irishman, and a Welshman. We had a really great night in the seas.
Oh, it's good. Aye.
What a haul we got. I mean, it was like 400 grand or something like that. We made a lot of gold. So we did that. And then the other day I was streaming some Sea of Thieves. I was at level 5 Gold Hoarders Emissary, and these nasty reapers in a brig came up on me. The wonderful evil monkey jumped on to try and save my bacon and try and keep them busy, but we got sunk in the end because we got reared big time by a skelly
Aw.
galleon that spawned on us at the same time as the brig. But it was fun. And yeah, the other day I caught the Avengers on sale. It was £23 or something like that on the PlayStation Store. I did my old CD keys thing, got it for about 19 quid. I have to say,
Are you
it's-
on commission for CD keys tonight?
well, no, I'm genuinely just encouraging folk. You know, digital games are expensive. You need to find a way to get make savings where you can, and that's the way to do it.
Colin's Sunday evening stream brought to you by CD Keys.
Aye.
Well, 15p. If you can flog coffee, then maybe I can flog. But I have to say, the Avengers, right? So I'm quite enjoying the story. It's got a PlayStation 5 upgrade. It's 112 gigabytes. It's an absolutely massive game. But like you know, size of it. I'm quite enjoying it. It's what I expected. It's very, you know, you're not really, there's nothing you haven't seen before. You know, it's fairly rudimentary. Go here, lots of wee quick time events here, there. Go and pick up 100 million collectibles as you wander about and get sort of exposition. The fighting's quite good. I love playing as the Hulk. But I have to say, I feel like I'm getting value out of it, and I think this is what Paul said to me. It's worth 20 quid. I don't think it's worth £59. I don't think it's worth full price at all. I've not played the multiplayer yet, and I think it'll be quite fun to play with you guys on multiplayer. But you know, it's a wee bit throw away, but I'm enjoying it enough.
Yeah. Gary, what you been playing, son?
I've not been doing anything new really. I did week 11 of the Resident Evil recap. So we did Resident Evil 7, and I was dressed up as Ethan Winters, which meant I had no face.
Terrifying.
And it terrified quite a few people in the chat.
Right, terrifying.
And at the end, I did my big reveal where I turned the green screen off, and then I just lit the mask. And there's a clip of that in the Discord, so it's quite funny. And again, so that's us up to date. We did the original Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, Code Veronica X. They went back to the start and did Resident Evil 0, Remake 1, Remake 2, Remake 3, onto Resident Evil 4, 5, 6, and 7. And
Lovely.
then next week will be 8.
Oh!
So very exciting. So next Wednesday, the game's not out by Wednesday, so what I'm going to do is just a wee Resident Evil quiz on the channel. Starts at 7 o'clock. Just it won't be anything too difficult. Colin asked earlier if it's going to be like really obscure.
I'll tell you the Resident Evils I've played, and you just make the quiz on that.
Okay, I can do that. Like, I won't be saying, what does the diary say in the groundskeeper's room in the west wing of the mansion? Because I never looked at any files, so that would be unfair. But it's just kind of a bit daft. There'll be some different. It's not going to be a serious quiz. The questions will be mostly quite tongue-in-cheek and kind of obvious. It's just for a bit of banter before the big game comes out on Friday.
Nice.
And at Friday, 9 p.m, I'm going to stream it into Discord. I'm not going to stream it. We had a lot of chats over the couple of weeks with people in the community about what I was going to do. And we think if I stream it into Discord, it's people I know we can trust, not to give spoilers, but people can see me reacting to like the opening hours of the game. Because I'm going to come home from work and have a nap, so I can sit up all night and play it. So yeah, just for Resident Evil recap, some Dead by Daylight, and I went back to Stardew Valley, and oh no, the addiction is real. The addiction is back.
The roots have got you.
They have rooted and booted. I'm at the end of my first year, and it's a bit unfair because I'm like, at the end of my first year, I've done so well. I have played it on the Switch, and I finished a year, so I knew what I was doing and trying to achieve by the end of this one. But it's really, really enjoyable. It's super chill. I was playing it on Sunday there instead of Shadowheart's Covenant. Being back at work is quite tiring, so at the weekends, I can't really cope with anything it's asking much of me. And I love Shadow Hearts, but all those quick time events per battle, I'm like, I don't know if my brain can do that on a Sunday afternoon just now. So Stardew Valley might be the Sunday thing just now until I get my energy back. But then we had that incident with the duck. So the clip is in the Discord again, but for those who aren't part of it, what happens is, so you upgrade your barn and your coop, and then you can get a duck. And I was like, I've never had a duck, and get a wee duck. And I'm naming the animals after members of the community. So, like, we named the duck Identior, because
nice.
Of the community. And the first morning, the duckling's there, and I've waited out, and I'm like, oh, my wee duckling, hello, wee duckling. And to get an idea, my chicken coop or my bird coop is on a wee island that connects to other bits of land, and to the left is where the cows live and the goats. So I'm like, hello, wee duckling, and you right click it and you get a wee love heart, and it's like, oh, hello. And then it just threw itself in the water. And I was like, I think my duck's about to drown. I think my duck's just like gonna die. And then it quickly began swimming, and I was like, oh, I forgot ducks can swim. And then it just jumped out the other side and went to talk to the cows, and I was like,
what do you think ducks did do?
I don't know. Nothing else in the game had gone in the water, so I was just like, I forgot it could float.
It was the reaction, though. It's the reaction that kills it, man. It's oh my days.
I genuinely clutch my pearls and gasp. I'm like, oh, my duck!
It literally does.
But it's a lot of fun, and it's great because I've got little huts built. So I'm playing on PC on a Sunday. So if you've got the PC version, you can come visit the farm and like just chill and have farm yard shenanigans. But it's good. But it's a filmy game. It's got a lovely community on Twitch as well. We actually got a really nice raid from someone who was playing the game. Oh, I raided someone who was playing the game. And she was like, oh, I play a lot with the community, and she had a kind of community farm that they'd started, and on a Sunday people drop in and out, and that's like their community farm day. And I was like, oh, that's a nice idea. I don't trust the community quite yet with a farm. So, but we'll see, because that could be quite a good. The Nearly Men farm. Can
Lovely.
you imagine?
Could be glorious.
Ducks chucking themselves into the water everywhere. Give me heart attacks every time. But that's it. Not much.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. Well, listen, let's have a wee look at the listeners. Tommy B298 in the Discord says he's been playing all sorts again. Rise of the Tomb Raider, a bit of GT Online, some of Sea of Thieves with the Scallywags. I was asking if we've seen Hood. It's coming out soon. Looks pretty cool. I have seen Hood. It reminds me a wee bit of Hunt Showdown, I have to say. And I'm trying not to get excited about it, because Hunt Showdown was a wee bit of a letdown for me.
But I don't know if you've been watching Six playing it since.
Indeed, I have.
It's getting me tempted again.
Don't. Viva La Hazy was on Discord. It says, finished up Cyberpunk. It was okay, but nothing groundbreaking. Finished Little Nightmares 2, which was pretty boring. Totally unimpressed by it. Now playing Bravely Default 2, which is just standard JRPG stuff. It's okay so far, but I'm not sure if I'll stay with it. Viva's having a great time. Viva's gaming nights are brilliant.
It's the barrel of laughs there, Viva La Hazy.
Diet Punk was on Discord saying he's practicing for the DBD tournament on the new PC. Oh yeah. It's like learning a brand new game. Also got back into some Mario Party for casual fun gaming with the new husband. With the husband, not the new husband.
The new husband.
That's because I was about to say they've put in new modes for Mario Party. They've updated it, and you can play. You can play the board game online now. And I think I might be wrong, but they might have added 70 new mini games.
Wow. I
don't know if that's maybe 70 total, but I think it already had loads. But they might have added 70 new ones, which is phenomenal. Scruffy was on the Discord saying he's been playing Sea of Thieves, Euro Truck Simulator 2, and he's installing Fallout 76. What's the matter, Smooth Skin? You never seen a ghoul before? Jamie Simpson's been on the Instagram. You can tell Colin Little did the shout out this week because there was a gram.
Didn't forget Instagram.
I love it.
Hey guys, it's been a while, he says. When I get the time, mostly playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Not really a fan of this series, but this one has got me. I think it's the Vikings theme. I'm loving it, and he's not even made it to England yet. Wow. So that's like right at the start, isn't it?
Oh my god! Well, it's not really, because you're in Norway for like the first 7 hours, right?
Oh, wow.
And then you get to England, and you're like, oh god, I've got all this to do.
Oh man, brutal. He's also looking forward to Returnal. Stay safe, he says. Thanks, Jamie. You too, pal. Jamesy42 was on the Twitter. He's still driving about in Forza Horizon 4. Thanks to the Game Pass, he's revisited Destiny 2 and a wee bit of Warzone. Alas, Season 3 is not off to the best start, though the 1984 map, small changes are good. Queen of the North on the Discord says, I started a Plague Tale this week, which I'm loving so far, then did some Dead by Daylight. Readying up for the community tournament next month. The what? What is it now? We love when you get in touch, guys. Please do drop us a line if you want to let us know what you've been playing or any kind of gaming news exciting you. Here's how you can do it.
We'd love to hear from you. Find us on Facebook as The Nearly Men, Twitter and Instagram, where we are at Nearly Men, or email info@thenearlymen.com.
Yes, indeed, do. New releases, gentlemen. Tomorrow, the 30th of April, you're getting a new Pokemon Snap on the Switch. Returnal, of course, comes out in the PS5. On the 4th of May, you're getting the Colonists. Not the Colonists. The Colonists for PS4, Xbox One and Switch. On the 7th, a little game called Resident Evil Village comes out. That's on PC, PS5, PS4, Xbox X, and Xbox One, and all the Xboxes. Hood, Outlaws and Legends, the one Tommy was getting excited about, is coming out on the 10th of May. That's on all platforms just about. Monster Harvest comes out on the PC and Switch on the 13th. Famicom Detective Club, The Girl Who Stands Behind, comes out on the 14th. Interesting. Subnautica comes out on the Switch on the 14th as well. Also on the 14th, Subnautica Below Zero comes out on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series and Switch. Famicom Detective Club, The Missing Hair. Missing Air. Air. Not hair. Air. Comes out on the Switch on the 14th. And, oh my days, Mass Effect Legendary Editions comes out on the 14th as well. That's caught up as fast, that one. Wowza. Wowza!
That's when they've taken all the butt shots out and weirdos are raging about it.
Weirdos.
Wait, they take out Miranda's butt shot? That was like the final moment of Mass Effect 2.
I believe they
Mass
have.
Effect 2?
I think it is Miranda's butt shot that has
Oh, that was a great entrance. Give the girl her butt.
I think
Very
there's a few
disappointing.
butt things that have been. I don't know the game very well, but I do know folk are mad about the butts.
I need
Well,
to buy
there you
it
go.
just to see the edit. I mean,
Um,
that's the justification at least.
I did see a really
That's-
interesting sort of like side by side where the opening bit where you're like traveling across like a snowy land and all that, and you're on this truck thing. I think it's one of them anyway. It looks decidedly less atmospheric in the remake than or the remaster. It does in
Interesting.
Sure you were looking at the right side? Mass Effect Legendary Edition took out all the butt stuff. Any questions from the chat, gentlemen?
No questions. Just Tommy B saying the Nearly Men farm. What could possibly go wrong?
He's not wrong. He's not wrong at all.
See, wonderful evil monkey also talking about us getting some, and actually we had literally, and he was right. We had found our feet, and then that galleon came up and just absolutely wrecked us. And of course,
Anyone
Diane
would you?
Fox also there wondering, where is my new husband, and is he pretty?
Shall be arriving in the post.
Yeah.
Upcoming
delayed.
streams. There is a Dead by Daylight tournament next month on the Nearly Men channel. What's the word? It's on the tip of my tongue. Made up by Blunderboy87.
Created, hosted.
Curated, yeah.
Curated was the
Curated.
word. That's what I was trying to get. Thank you. Gary, when's that happening, buddy?
So the tournament is happening on Saturday, the 29th of May. Just double check that's right. At
Good.
6 p.m. over on the Nearly Men channel, where 10 members of the community, I think it's 8 streamers and two members who don't stream but pop up in streams, shall be battling for top spot of Best Dead by Daylighter. It's an invitational, so as our first tournament, decided to invite 10 people that we know who we get along well, and if this goes down well, I'll work on making more in the future. But it's going to be lots of fun. Everyone's putting in lots of work, and we are announcing the members on the Twitter. So we announced 2 last week. We announced, who did we announce? Diet Punk and Husband. So Husband from Team Dead by 615.
Boo! Oh no! Yay! I'm just booing everybody.
We're going to cause our team enough problems without booing them as
Tell
well.
me about it, man. Tell me about it.
And Diet Punk from Team Barbecue and Chillin'.
Boo!
But everyone started, I was going to say rehearsing, but practicing, meeting up, having chat. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a good day full of laughs and just silly nonsense. But I will say, people's competitive sides are already coming out, and people I was not expecting to be competitive.
Oh my!
The gauntlet has been thrown. If they had
my!
a white glove, you'd be slapped in the face with it.
Aye, we've got a passive aggressive Microsoft Excel spreadsheet.
I see some cells are still empty. Said the creator.
It's not actually passive aggressive, but I couldn't miss the joke.
And personal streams as well. Colin, you're first on tomorrow, 12 o'clock. Is that right?
12 o'clock tomorrow. Funnily enough, I see John O'Rocks has mentioned it in the chat. He did mention it earlier on. I had to jump across because we're sorting out a raid, so I lost my chat. So when Paolo asked about things from chat, I had to do it by memory. But John O'Rocks and Diet Punk have both mentioned Hollow Knight, and I have it installed and ready to go. So I'm thinking I might give Hollow Knight a wee shot tomorrow.
Lovely jubbly, lovely jubbly.
Unless we get an email about
Returnal. I'm on at 2 p.m. Don't know what I'm playing yet. Same situation. Blunderboy, you on tomorrow?
Yeah, probably near a 4 again. I don't know what I'm going to play.
See, there you go.
I don't know if I'm going to get any Bloodborne. I kind of, Friday's now out about 2 hours, and I'm like, to start Bloodborne and get 2 hours in, it's kind of, it doesn't really lend itself to a 2 hour stream. I could play it twice. Maybe might just do some Dead by Daylight and see if anyone in the community wants to play along or something. I'll see. I don't know. We'll see how I feel.
So you're getting a bit of a mystery day from the Nearly Men tomorrow. Starts at 12 p.m. with Colin Little on Colin_NM. Then come over to me, 2 p.m. Paul Kaczynski, and then Blunderboy 87 starts at 4 p.m. It's 87, isn't it? I suddenly doubted myself there.
Yeah. You can make me younger if you want.
Join us in the next episode, episode 87. That is going to be on the 13th of May.
Oh, my
8 p.m. 13th of May on this channel. Gentlemen, have you got anything left to say for 86?
Team barbecue and chilling is going down.
Blunderboy.
Charge your joypads.
Ahoy, ahoy, everyone. See you next time.